All right, you guys, yesterday we did applications and we used our calculators for that, our graphing calculators. Today I wanted to show you how to graph by hand. They're not going to be applications, they're just going to be standard form quadratics. And I think this is important because sometimes in these classes that you get put into for college or on your placement test, you're going to come across problems like this that will say you can't use a graphing calculator, right? So that's the whole purpose behind this. So I just want to go through what are the steps that we're going to do to graph these, and then do 2 practice problems. So hopefully this won't take too long. So the first thing we want to do is convert the quadratic that's in standard form to intercept form. So let's just remember, standard form looks like this, right? That's standard form. ax squared plus bx plus c. If we want to convert it to intercept form, that means we're going to have to factor, and it would be something like that, right? Where we have 2 things being multiplied, 2 binomials being multiplied. So in order to do that, we're going to factor. And whenever we find the x-intercepts, they're going to be written in the form, the x value, whatever it is, so I'm going to put just a number, and 0, because it's an x-intercept, so the y value is 0. We find the x-intercepts, like I said, by factoring first, and then set each factor equal to 0 and solve. Whoops. Each. All right? We've done both of those already, so that should be just a review. The new thing is, how do we find the x value of a vertex? Now, we learned that if it's in standard form a couple units ago, that we find the vertex by doing the opposite of b over 2a, and you absolutely can do that. But since we just found the x-intercepts, we're going to do that because we already did most of the work, and we just have to do 2 steps. So we find the x value of the vertex by adding the x values of the intercepts and then dividing them by 2. In other words, we're kind of finding the average. All right? Now, just like we did in the other unit, once we find the x value, we go back, we put that in to find the y value. And the last thing we have to find is the y-intercept. Once we find all these things, we can graph it. The y-intercept is in the form 0, comma, whatever your y value is. And what we do is we substitute 0 for the x, and then we solve for y. Very simple. So let's do some practice. All right, so here's our first example. It's example A on your note sheet that you should be following along and taking your notes on. So we have a problem right here that's already in standard form. We need to get it into intercept form, which means we need to factor it. So I've already set up my x factor here, and our question is what multiplies to give us -5 and adds to give us -4. So many choices. Well, obviously we're going to use 5 and 1 because those are the only 2 that give us 5. And we need now to think about what combination would it be if it needs to add to be -4. And so that means that our 5 needs to be negative. Now, as always, we divide by 1x. And we go ahead and we write our factors, right? So once again, we start from the bottom and work our way to the top. So it'll just be x minus 5 and then x plus 1. Now we want to set that equal to 0 because we're going to find our x-intercepts. So just as we did a couple days ago, we're now going to take each factor, set it equal to 0, and solve. Super difficult math right here. Add 5, and we get one x-intercept as 5, so we write it as 5, comma 0. Again, solve this using our algebra skills, which I know we're so fantastic at. and our other x-intercept is at -1, 0. Right? So again, that should just be review. Fingers crossed. Right? We should know how to do that. All right, the next part is how do we find the vertex? Okay, so we know that our x-intercepts are 5 and -1. So what we do is we take those two values and we add them together and then divide by 2, pretty much finding the average. So we have 5 plus -1, 4, divided by 2 should give us a 2. That's the x value of our vertex. To find our y value, we're going to take 2, put it back into our equation, and solve for y. So we'll have y equals 2 squared minus 4 times 2 minus 5. So far we really haven't needed a calculator. And if this were something like, say, on a placement test where they didn't give you a calculator and you had to find the vertex, we can absolutely do this. Squared first. 2 squared is 4. Minus 8 minus 5. 4 minus 8 gives us -4. Minus 5 is -9 for our y value. Double check me. Did I do right? Did I do it right, Brayden? Tell him if I did it right. Oh, he shook his head no. Oh, shoot. All right, now I'm going to find the y-intercept. Y-intercept, maybe I'm going to draw a little line here to separate. To find the y-intercept, we're going to sub 0 for our x. And this is actually one of the easiest parts. Sorry, Jaden, I said easy. Hopefully you're okay with this. 0 squared, 0, minus 4 times 0, 0, so we just get -5. 0 was our x, -5 was our y. That's what we need. Now we go over here to our graph and plot all that information. So we have one x-intercept at 5, 0, one at -1, 0. We have a vertex at 2 down to 9, -9. And then we have a y-intercept at -5. Now, if you wanted to put one more point, you can say, all right, my vertex is right here, and I know that it's symmetrical on each side. So if this point over here was at -5, I can put one more right over here. And now we can connect those to draw our U, or our parabola. And there's my son's answer. He's 5. He did the problem with us. I hope he did it correct. All right, we're going to do example C now. I want you to do B on your own. So this one, again, we're going to look at and we're going to try to factor it. And so I see something different here. Oh, I see a number in front. So remember, whenever we see a number in front, we always question ourselves, can we take that number out? Is it a GCF? And if we look at it, we have a 2, an 8, and a 6, and absolutely we can remove that 2 and write what we have left when we divide each term by 2. Again, so we're dividing each term by 2, and that's how we get what's left over. Now, with this new standard form, we can factor this. So, whoops, I forgot to divide this one by 2. There we go. So it multiplies to give us 3 and adds to give us -4. Think about it. So many choices. How about 3 and 4? 3 and 1. Whoop. Negative, because we need it to be multiplied to be a positive, but add to give us -4. And we are going to divide by 1x. Remember, we do 1 for this one because we look at what we got after we took our GCF out. So we write our factors from bottom to top. So we're going to start with x minus 3 times x minus 1. And that 2 could be out there also. And now we're going to solve for our x-intercept, so we make it equal to 0. So go ahead and solve that. Come back here when you get your answer. And just remember that this 2 on the outside that we took for a GCF does not affect our x-intercepts. All right, so we do not do anything with that 2 when we're finding the x-intercepts. So go ahead and use your fantastic algebra skills to solve for your 2 x-intercepts. And remember, we write those as ordered pairs. So go ahead and do that. When you're done, come back to the video. All right, we got our x-intercepts, and so now what we're going to do is find the vertex. So remember, to find the vertex, we take our 2 x-intercepts, 3, add it to 1, and divide by 2. 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2 again, just like the last one. So our vertex is at 2. And now we need to go back and find our y value. So let's see, where y value is going to be 2 times 2 squared minus 8 times 2 plus 6. All right. Be very careful here with your order of operations. Exponents come first, so it's 2 times 4. And I'm going to go ahead and do 8 times 2, so minus 16 plus 6. One more piece of multiplication, 4 times 2, minus 16 plus 6. And I'm going to keep simplifying to get my y value as negative 2. Double check my work. All right, now I'm going to find the y-intercept. Remember, to find the y-intercept, we put 0 in for x. So we are going to take 2 times 0 squared minus 8 times 0 plus 6. Here we go. 0 squared, 0 times 2, 0. 8 times 0, 0. We're left with 6. 0, 6 is our y-intercept. See how nice it is to know your arithmetic? All right, now we graph it. So we're going to go ahead and go at 3, 0 for our first x-intercept. Ooh, this is close together. 1, 0 for our other intercept. 2, negative 2 is our vertex, and 0, 6 is our y-intercept. Now again, if we want, we can draw our line of symmetry and say if our y-intercept was at 6, then the other point's at 6 just over. This one's a little skinnier, and if you guys remember your properties when you do different quadratics, that number that we took out, that 2, made the graph skinnier. That's why it's a little skinnier than the others. All right, you guys, well, I hope you can be successful on the other portions of your notes here. Bring any questions you have next week. I'll be happy to answer them, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Brayden, did you get it right? Oh, you sure did. Good job, bud. All right, I'll see you guys next week. All right, there's Brayden's work. I think you got him correct, too. You guys got some competition out there. Have a good day.